And it happened after Saul died, that David returned from smiting Amalek, and David settled 2 days in Sekelac. And it happened on the 3rd day, and behold, a man came from the camp of Saul's people, and his clothes were torn, and earth was on his head. And it happened when he came in to David, that he fell on the ground and did obeisance to him. And David said to him, Where have you come from? And he said to him, I have come safe from the camp of Israel. And David said to him, What is this word? Tell me. And he said, The people fled from the battle, and many of the people have fallen and died, and Saul died, and his son Jonathan died. And David said to the lad who was telling him, How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan died? And the lad who was telling him said, By accident I had an encounter on Mount Gelbui, and behold, Saul was propped up on his spear. And behold, the chariots and the horse captains drew close to him. And he looked on the things behind him, and saw me, and called me. And I said, Behold, here I am. And he said to me, Who are you? And I said, I am an Amalekite. And he said to me, Do stand over me, and put me to death, for a terrible darkness has laid hold of me, for all my life is in me. And I stood over him, and put him to death, for I knew that he could not live after he had fallen. And I took the crown that was on his head, and the armlet that was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my lord. And David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and all the men who were with him tore their clothes. And they beat themselves and wept and fasted until evening for Saul, and for his son Jonathan, and for the people of Judah, and for the house of Israel, because they were smitten with a sword. And David said to the lad who had told him, Where are you from? And he said, I am son of a man, a resident alien, an Amalekite. And David said to him, How did you not fear to bring your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of his lads and said, Drawing near, fall upon him. And he struck him down, and he died. And David said to him, Your blood be on your head, for your mouth answered against you, saying, I put to death the Lord's anointed. And David lamented this lamentation over Saul and over his son Jonathan, and said to teach the sons of Judah, Behold, it is written in a book of the upright. Set up a monument, O Israel, for the wounded that have died upon your heights, how the mighty have fallen. Tell it not in Geth, and proclaim it not in the exits of Ashkelon, lest daughters of Aliphiles rejoice, lest daughters of the uncircumcised exult. You mountains that are in Gelbui, let no dew descend, and let there be no rain upon you, or fields of first fruits. For there the shield of the mighty was treated with vexation. Saul's shield was not anointed with oil. From the blood of wounded, from the fat of mighty ones, Jonathan's bow did not return empty to the rear, and Saul's sword did not turn back empty. Saul and Jonathan, the beloved and lovely, not divided. Comely in their life, and in their death they were not divided. Swift beyond eagles they were, and they had strength beyond lions. O daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you with scarlet in your ornament, who brought gold ornament to your apparel. How the mighty have fallen amidst the battle, Jonathan a casualty upon your heights. I grieve for you, my brother Jonathan. You were made very beautiful to me. Your love to me was wonderful, beyond women's love. How the mighty have fallen, and the weapons of war perished. And it happened after these things that David inquired by the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into one of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said to him, Go up. And David said, Where shall I go up? And he said, To Hebron. And David went up there to Hebron, and both his wives, Achinum the Jezreelite, and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the men who were with him, each and his household, and they were dwelling in the towns of Hebron. And the men of Judea came, and there they anointed David to reign over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, The men of Jabes of Galadites buried Saul. And David sent messengers to the leaders of Jabes of Galadites, and said to them, You are blessed to the Lord, because you have done this mercy to your Lord, to Saul the anointed of the Lord, and buried him and Jonathan his son. And now may the Lord do mercy and truth with you. And indeed I will do these things with you, because you have done this thing. And now let your hands be strong, and become mighty sons, for Saul your Lord is dead, and indeed the house of Judah has anointed me king over themselves. And Abner son of Ner, commander-in-chief for Saul, took Jebosti, son of Saul, and brought him out of the camp to Mahanaim, and made him king over Galadites, and over Tasiri, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Jebosti, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and he reigned 2 years, except over the house of Judah, who were behind David. And the days that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah were 7 years and 6 months. And Abner son of Ner went out, and the servants of Jebosti son of Saul from Mahanaim to Gabaon. And Joab son of Saruiah, and the servants of David went out from Hebron, and met them at the well of Gabaon, at the same place, and they sat, these at the well of Gabaon here, and these at the well there. And Abner said to Joab, Do let the lads arise and have a game before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. And they arose and passed by, to the number of 12 of the servants of Benjamin, those of Jebosti son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they held each his hand upon the head of his fellow, and his dagger to the side of his fellow, and they fell down together. And the name of that place was called the portion of the plotters, which is at Gabaon. And the battle was extremely hard in that day, and Abner stumbled, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. And 3 sons of Seruiah were there, Joab and Abessa and Asael. And Asael was as swift on his feet as one gazelle in a field. And Asael pursued after Abner, and did not turn to go to the right or to the left after Abner. And Abner looked behind him and said, Are you Asael himself? And he answered, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn to the right or to the left, and seize for yourself one of the lads, and take for yourself his armor. And Asael did not want to turn aside from behind him. And Abner added again, saying to Asael, Withdraw from me, lest I strike you to the ground. And how then could I lift up my face to Joab? And where are these things leading? Return to your brother Joab. But he was not willing to withdraw. And Abner struck him in the loins with the butt of his spear, and the spear went out behind him, and he fell there and died under him. And it happened, each one who came to the place, there where Asael fell and died, and he stood still. And Joab and Abessa pursued after Abner, and the sun was going down. And they came to the hill of Ammon, which is before Gai, on the way to the wilderness of Gabaon. And the sons of Benjamin who were behind Abner gathered themselves together and formed one band, and they stood on the top of one hill. And Abner called Joab and said, The sword will not devour unto victory, will it? Do you not know that in the end it will be bitter? And how long will you not say to the people to turn from after our brothers? And Joab said, The Lord lives, for if you had not spoken wherefore, then the people from early morning would have gone up, each after his brother. And Joab trumpeted with the trumpet, and all the people departed, and they did not pursue after Israel, and they did not add to fight any longer. And Abner and his men returned westward that whole night, and crossed the Jordan and went the whole stretch of time ahead, and came to the camp. And Joab returned from after Abner, and gathered all the people together, and 19 men and Asael of David's servants were noted. And the servants of David smote of the sons of Benjamin 360 men, belonging to him. And they took up Asael and buried him in the tomb of his father at Bethlehem. And Joab went, and the men who were with him, the whole night, and the day broke upon them at Hebron.